Okay, so you're looking to create a business that allows you the ability to create consistent recurring revenue. This could be in the form of a digital marketing agency. This could be in the form of a productized service. Now, I'm familiar with both. I obviously, before Penji was ever created, I started a digital marketing agency. And to go on a larger and longer tangent, I created a business that's called Pan Fried Media. This was back when I was about 21 to 23 years ish of age. I love food, absolutely love food, and I figured that if I were to create a business, I wanted to find a way to help restaurants market themselves because I felt at the time that I was really good at marketing. And so I decided to come up with this social media management company that basically helped businesses with uh, their 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 social media. So I would create the posts, I would take the pictures, I'd go into the store. It would cost about 200 to the restaurants. It would cost about $299 a month, and it ended up working quite well, specifically because I spoke the language of a restaurant, and more specifically enough, I had no choice but to survive. I had absolutely no cash at the time. I think I was able to provide myself with about 3 months of leadway in order for me to have in my bank account. If I didn't make any money from that point, then I'd have to shut the business down and get another job, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm telling you, with to where I was making absolutely $0 to where I am today in a business that has over 500 people in it at Penji. And this is how I would do it if I were to start all over again, which more or less that's exactly what I'm doing and the whole purpose of this channel. So here are my notes. I think number one, you have to start off with a goal. What is the goal that you have in mind? If you don't have a goal or if you don't have an objective, I think overall you're going to run out of gas a lot faster than you probably would have hoped for. It could be a really silly goal. We have pretty outlandish goals at Penji. I have moderately, not so much outlandish, more realistic goals for this particular channel and also for this particular business. It's nothing crazy, and to be fully transparent, I don't necessarily want this business to be that big. I just want it to be stable enough where I don't necessarily have to work in it at any particular time. It creates consistent and predictable revenue for myself and for my family. And most specifically, I want to be able to find a way to take the profit and the revenue and things like that and funnel other things that are life goals of mine. So I think first and foremost, you have to understand your North Star. Find a North Star. That's probably more important than anything else. The next thing that I would say is choose the services that you think that you can provide. For most people, it could be graphic design. It could be business consulting. It could also be WordPress. It could also be social media. For me, I think if you're creating a predictable revenue model or some type of digital marketing agency, you should not offer everything under the sun. You should offer like one or two things at most, probably one thing if you really want it to be successful. And that's really all you need. I think the biggest failure that we had at our digital marketing agency was we tried to do too much. And so when you try to do too much and you sell too much, you end up confusing the consumers, you end up confusing the market as a whole. When I first started after the social media business, I was always known as the social media guy. And I probably should have picked up on this a lot faster and a lot quicker than I did now. But we should have just doubled down on social media, right? Like that was it. I was always the social media guy. Partially because I was also the youngest in the room and nobody really understood what social media was. But more specifically, that's what my name ended up becoming, more or less. I didn't even have a name, really. I don't even think that 90% of the people knew who I was, but they knew what I did, and that was good enough for me. So the next thing is going to be define your niche. And I think that specifically, is like overplayed on most videos, but in this video specifically, I want to highlight the main thing, which is, again, another failure that we had, and honestly, to some degree, Penji still has to this day, which is focusing on one particular or two particular or three particular industries and going all in on them. At the very beginning, I'd say in any business, you kind of just like, screw it. If you're paying me, you have a pulse. I'll accept you as a customer. And I don't necessarily think that should be the case. I think you more or less should probably find a way to pick that particular niche and stay on it. The business weather vane, believe it or not, is more or less like kind of in that area now, where there's no niche or anything of that matter. It is just kind of general. And I haven't really found it just yet in full transparency, because Penji and all the other agencies that I've created and worked on and worked with, there's no one specific entity or industry that has worked really well. It's kind of like a modge podge of different industries. And there hasn't been a particular industry that I felt empowered enough to actually focus in. And so, yeah, define and pick your niche. The last thing that I'd say is get your first clients any means necessary. And that certainly doesn't mean beg. I'm going to go into more detail about this in another video, but more specifically, I think what you need to know, and this is what I would do if I were to do it all over again, is go out and network and go to every single event selling whatever it is that you're trying to sell. That event could be, I personally would say you want to focus on locality, I think is key. I think the internet is amazing. I think the internet can also be a time suck, and it can also be overwhelming, because you think in your head, okay, well, I am from Philadelphia, and therefore I can service clients all over the world, and therefore I'm going to go out and find all of the best law firms, for example, in a particular region. And that absolutely can work for some people. I'm not going to crap on it. It absolutely can work. I just don't, I personally feel overwhelmed by that particular business practice. I don't think it's the best business, best strategy for execution. Instead, I would say, okay, well, if law firms, for example, are your target audience, you want to use law firms within the counties or the cities or the states of whatever you can drive to. And I think if you were to go to these networking events, I think if you were to go to, if you were to focus on the locality and using Google Maps and being able to drive there and convince somebody to literally meet with you, I think that is the recipe for success in 2025. The internet is great. There's 1,000,001 tools that you could use. I could probably sit here and for another, I don't know, what are we at? 8 minutes and some change. I could speak for another 8 minutes, 16 minutes, whatever that is, and tell you all the different tools that you need to use. But I really want to be able to make sure that you walk away in under 10 minutes or so with a bite-sized idea that allows you the ability to be able to take it and run with it and do whatever you want. So if you're starting out a digital marketing agency or a productized service of any kind, I think these 4 things are your recipe for success. So number 1, understand your goal. Number 2, choose the service that you can actually produce. Define who it is that you're trying to sell to. And of course, get your first clients any means necessary. Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day.